Monkey on my feet like it's common sense. Got gorillas in the streets like it's common sense. Stack the money heads up like it's second nature. Gotta stay pulled up like it's second nature. Keep a chip in my ear like it's second nature. Big make me care like second nature.
Today to talk about how I feel, and I feel like that we are treated differently than other people, and I don't like how we're treated, and just because of us doesn't mean anything to me.
It's just the way I feel. Mine's been racing so long, yeah. It's just no way to problems alone, and I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Now everybody got problems, yeah, but waiting no more way to solve them. I really came up from the bottom, struggling my mama on the last dollar. Hustling, man, I've been putting in these hours. The government been trying to take away what's ours. Really all about the money and the power. I just wanna see my people in power. Tell me how we gon' shape this vision. Complaining all day, but in the same condition. If you wanna make change, it's gon' take commitment. Some people enslaved by their religion can't emancipate the fundamental principles. What I see through optics transform the wisdom. Watch me use my prophets, get them on the list, and I've been on the mission. And I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? Now everybody got fights, yeah, but wouldn't know what good advice was. Till they leave him lifeless. Another mama crying, it's another crisis. Lord knows we just.
The Bills are now on the clock.
I know we can't continue living like this, and I never sell my soul cause that's priceless. Tell me how we gon' make a living. Hustle on the block, who gon' save the children? Man, it's all a plot and I'm just revealing. The media just trying to make a villain. I just take the pain and paint a picture. Voices in my head, I hear the whispers when I feel this way. And I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm young and I'm restless, and I really can't help it. I never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. Tell me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? It's just the way I feel. Mine's been racing so long. I really can't take it no more. I've been fighting temptations, my Lord. I'm living on restless. I said, Lord, can you help me? I've never felt selfish before. I've been living so reckless, I know. To me, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me? I said, Lord, can you help me?
The Titans are now on the clock.
Rather you than me. If you've been with me from Port of Miami, it's been a journey. Ain't nothing changed. A little stronger, a little wiser. Maybe a little more. Blame it on America.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Her future bright, don't give nobody bad. Be looking good inside the Whoa. But I noticed that she missing all the edges. Whoa. I run the game just by running with the poor attitude, they got rich calisthenics.
All right, team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
The old saying of "what have you done for me lately" could be used to explain his rapid rise in draft value. After a late-season performance that saw him make several key blocks leading to scores, sources said that many scouts were willing to overlook otherwise average statistics leading up to his final game. NFL expert Ross Tucker felt that his upside far outweighs any concerns that he's a one-hit wonder. Tucker raved about his natural footwork that he called a quote-unquote gift for someone his size. Patience may be needed to help him grow into his full potential, but this team feels as if it has bolstered its offensive line with this big pick.
Lions pick is in. Let's go to Adam, who has more on Adams.
Matt Miller told me to look at a certain stat in regards to this defensive back, and that's average number of targets in a game. Not surprisingly, you see that number start to fall each week. He was a master of the bait and switch early in the year, on track to break records midway through the season. Eventually, quarterbacks gave up altogether trying to throw the ball in his direction, essentially taking away a receiver on every play. There's going to be an adjustment period now that he's in the NFL, but he certainly has the potential to be a shutdown defender for this team in the future.
I got money, I got wild wounds. Get the coaching on that, ain't no dance moves. I was posted on the stoop, hanging with my Haitians. On the news, on front pages. Ain't no relations. I was stacking being fresh and bossing. 2 times in a row, that's a repeat. You end up, cause they easy. I'm in the.
Pick's been made. Let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about the player.
He was always a player who cared about academics, and that couldn't have been made any more clear when he decided to forego his senior season in order to take on more classes. His goal was to graduate before entering the NFL draft, and at the sacrifice of his final year of football eligibility, he was able to pull it off. The decision left some experts scratching their heads, but guys like Matt Miller saw it as a smart move to stay injury-free and remove the distraction of getting his diploma once he went pro. At least with a degree, he has a backup job now in case this whole football thing doesn't work out for him.
Hands on me, got the yellow brace. Check off in my pocket like the yellow paste. What I was asking.
All right, let's go to Adam Schefter, who's got more on this pick.
Every year, there are a number of players who shine in the All-Star game getting attention around the league. And this year, he was one of those stars. He blew up in the college All-Star game, finishing with multiple sacks and a forced fumble. The one word Matt Miller gave me to describe his play was relentless. He was on top and on the attack all game long, and he never seemed to tire from it. They tried rotating fresh offensive linemen in to stop him, but each one failed to slow him down. Now that he's on a team, he'll just have to wait and see if he can carry over that same aggressive play from college to Sunday.
Adam, what can you tell us about that last pick?
He got the attention of scouts pretty quickly when he had a game-winning catch that most receivers would have trouble bringing in. With one outstretched hand, he caught a pass that looked like it was about to sail out of the back of the end zone. He proved that even the big guys can make some incredible plays with their hands. And in a league where receiving tight ends are becoming a premium, it's no wonder this team took him here.
Lead a cloud with a few now. Just some Hollywood, and they do. I'm in the mood now. 2 a.m. What you want to do now? What you want to do now? spill on me, that's Margella. Got this Oakland game to tell her. She look familiar. Like Coachella, what's her name? Isabella, forget it, yeah. It's like a week ago, but we both know how weekends go.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Lockjaw got me speaking slow like, yeah, I'm blessed, I don't GA. You tryna, yes on, yes on, yes on, yes. Say less. Say less. You ain't go. Say less. Yeah. Say less. Hey girl, what it do? If you got friends, cool, bring a few through. No fun if the homies, man. R.I.P. Nate Dogg, this too true. And you know what I'm down for. Round 2, round 3, and a round 4. Mood switch when she knocked at the front door. Next up was the uproar. Yeah, was like a week ago, but we both know how weekends go. Tryna tuck off, got some places we could go. Swear she got the like wow, she's blessed, I'm blessed. I don't GA. You tryna, yes on, yes on, yes on, yes. Say less. Say less. You ain't go. Say less.
Sheesh. What you saying? I don't understand. I'm out my mind. I popped. Sheesh. I swear this lockjaw got me stuttering. Girl, you not fall in love again. Sheesh. Get it. My favorite rush. You talkative, ain't gotta say too much. Be quiet. Who got some grapes? I'm trying to. I'm all born for these. Get it. Not complicated. No conversation. Get it. Not complicated. No conversation. Please say less. Please say less. Please say less.
I'm blessed.
The Bears are now on the clock.
You tryna, yes on, yes on, yes on, yes. Say less. Say less. You ain't go. Say less. Say less. Say less. You ain't go. Say less.
I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe.
Yellow if you on my right leg, that's Gucci. Dig what I'm saying? Yellow if you on my man, that's Poochie. Dig what I'm saying? Caught a little jet lag, but I'm golden. Yeah. We deserve Grammys and some Oscars. They deserve Grammys.
Our very own Adam Schefter has more to say about this pick.
Anytime you go out and dominate your peers, you're going to turn some GMs' heads. That's exactly what he was able to do in college, outrushing some of the best backs in the country, with some projected to be higher draft prospects when the season began. From everything I've heard from various sources across the league, many GMs consider him a back that can handle the ball 25 to 30 times a game and grind out those tough yards late in the game. This could be the beginning of a very special career.
I've been riding 85. I've been thinking way too much, and I'm way too gonna drive. I got anger in my chest, I got millions on my mind, and you didn't fit the picture, so I guess you want the vibe. I've been rolling on the freeway, I've been riding.
They've just picked up Tanner. What's the latest on him, Adam?
He was the leader of an offensive line that almost broke a record for allowing the least amount of sacks in a season. Most college quarterbacks get sacked several times every game, but he was able to keep his quarterback from going down just about 6 times the whole season. Those are incredible numbers, and you have to respect not only his ability, but also his leadership to maintain that consistency across the entire line. The quarterback has to love this pick, and we should see him injected into the starting line almost immediately.
I gave you real love out the gutter, Ever let you go, you gon' suffer from it. I go through it. I gotta accept that I'm a I pull up in several different options. Yeah. That I would most ever. I shatter your dreams with this cream I make. Boy, gotta be on the thinker. I say, what? I can't feel my toes, but they gon' fold up. I was in the double law when I rolled. Yeah.
I feel like I should be giving up. You can't.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
Too much, but I'm tired of you, me on.
All right, now that the pick's in, let's go to Adam. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
This guy was a beast at the Combine. No other rookie pumped out more reps on the bench than he did. One scout told me the whole room of players waiting their turn were on their feet cheering him on. He blasted through 20, didn't show signs of slowing down at 30, and finished with just over 40 reps under his belt. Coaches came away impressed with his level of effort. The bench press is a good test of endurance, and he showed his ability to perform at a high level without slowing down. If he can translate what he did in the weight room to the field, he'll have an immediate impact on the team.
I done came up, busting down the whole broke and step back. Want your people swag, ain't even gotta ask. What are those, what is that? Please don't touch my rap, please don't touch my rap. I'm racked up like rappers, I'm wrapped up on camera, hit out on camera, squeeze like ass.
The Packers are now on the clock.
Bear wrath when I wear wrath, might invest into some rap shit, Lord, still shit rap, and I'm dripping on rags. Rick gonna be the tag, do the digital dash, yeah, I'm boasting, never brag, please don't touch my rap, or the Chris Finn Nash, Alessandra Gucci glasses, the W Anderson collab, yeah, you probably like it, yeah, you drop it on the, I'ma buy another, cause boys bring it back, yeah, you know how to make it laugh, plus and keeping tabs, I'ma fly first class, Quavo hit him with it, please don't touch my rap.
Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Do you know how much I'm spending? My closet, it worth about $1 million. To the little out the runway. Then the kitchen. Ralph Simmons. All kind of crazy colors. Living color. Left wrist. Roll it. Ice. Mason Margiela, my sweater. Mama told me never settle. Ralph Simmons, don't lace him. Got your wanna.
Huh? What? Don't wanna talk about the paper. I swear to God, these be haters. They be hating, I feel out of. Live in cul-de-sac, don't get along. Ooh, right with my neighbors. Diamonds on my neck and roll it on. Now I later got undefeated flavors. I'm with my lifesaver. Ooh, feel like Darth Vader. I'm a boss, you know I might riff it. Ooh, right in my basement. Yeah. But you know that I'm gon' face it. Wait, that's the reason that they mad. Color Uzi, yeah, he made it. Yeah, I wear that rapper, I made it. Yeah, I wear that rapper, I made it. Yeah, got that rap all in my basement. Yeah, once I got patience. Yeah, I'm famous. Yeah, put my side beside Mark Jacob. Hey.
The Packers have just made Austin their newest player.
He's a linebacker that wasn't particularly high on anyone's board coming into the offseason. But after the Combine and Pro Day, his name started getting circulated around draft circles as a potential sleeper in this class. And when I spoke to Matt Miller, he told me it wasn't really what he did, but what he didn't do that got everyone's attention. He finished either average or above that in every major test for a linebacker. What you get is a guy that can do everything asked of him and room to grow in several different areas. Coaches like guys in the middle of the field that they don't have to worry about taking out in certain downs, and he can provide that for this team.
I cover my face and I'm spring summer 2002.
Now that the Cowboys have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about him.
Setting a single-game team record for tackles for loss, he's quickly earned a reputation as a fearsome defensive lineman with a devastating rip move. Ross Tucker had him ranked as the top defensive line prospect in this year's draft, saying there aren't even many current NFL offensive linemen with the quickness and footwork needed to neutralize him one-on-one at the line. Adding depth on the defensive line is always a positive, and when you can add an impact player of his caliber, you've set up your defense for immediate success.
I say, Lord, be my savior when it comes to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save us. Say amen. Amen, 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 yeah. Amen. That boys in that can't win. Can't win, can't win, can't win, can't win. Check. Going up. Win it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Ripping up was honest. We used to drive at them Hondas. Then we pull up in the Fondas. Glow up. Walk in. Show up. Baby, hold up. Glow up. Boy, don't touch. We flow up. Yeah. I'm laughing to the bank. All new blue Benny Franks. Bulldoggg put him in the tank. Yeah, that guy just a rap guy. I'm so mad fly in, he ain't. Let me back, tight gave me until I was going on Miami. They all cornballs. They can't stand me. I finesse. I done. I hear. Get a plan. Let's go that my whoa. Low. Got screen on yo-yo. She posted up.
The Browns are now on the clock.
When we out and we see him, he always asks for photo. I say, Lord, be my savior when it comes to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save us. Say amen. Amen, yeah. Amen.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
Check. Going up. Win it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Ripping up was honest. We used to drive at them Hondas. Then we pull up in the Fondas. Glow up. Walk in. Show up. Baby, hold up. Glow up. Boy, don't touch. We flow up. She lucky. Cause she 5 mil cash in Kentucky. Know me. I walk up in demons, spend 10K just like it's nothing. I hang with the demons, they don't play by me, we cut. I was coolin', Atlanta. Mixed with the Fanta. All them. I got Santa. I go monkey. All that. Gonna do just what I say. Pull up, fast as Uber in that race. She so bad, but she said. I feel guilty, I might as well just plead my case. I say, Lord, be my savior when it comes to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't save us.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
That boys in that can't win. Can't win. Check. Going up. Win it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Ripping up was honest. We used to drive at them Hondas. Then we pull up in the Fondas. Glow up. Walk in. Show up. Baby.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Boy, don't touch. We flow up.
The Rams are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though ambition, flow inside my DNA. I was born like this, and born like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this with new weapon.
Well, let's go to Adam now, who's got more on the 49ers' latest pick.
His pro day was a magnification of his bigger problem areas. He didn't suffer any drops during the passing drills, but he had several passes that were hauled in very awkwardly. He bobbled a few of them several times before he was able to completely secure the ball. With how tight defenders cover receivers in the NFL, he'll need to catch the ball and bring it to his body before the hit or strip. The receivers coach will need to work with him on catching balls away from his body with confidence.
I know just who you are. See, use it. Your hormones probably switch inside your DNA. Problem is, all that inside your DNA. Daddy probably snitch. Heritage inside your DNA. Backbone don't exist. Born on side a jellyfish, I gauge. See, my pedigree most definitely don't tolerate the front. Like been through probably offend you. This is Paula's oldest son. I know conviction, burners, boosters, ballers, dead, redemption, scholars, fathers, kids, and kids I was fed forgiveness, yeah. Soldier's DNA, born inside the beast. My expertise checked out in second grade. When I was 9, on sale motel, we didn't have nowhere to stay. At 29, I've done so well, hit cartwheel in my estate. And I'm gon' shine like I'm supposed to.
It's Vaughn's time to be picked, Adam. What do you think? Was it the right time?
Successes and failures seem to go hand in hand during a very inconsistent season for him. Leading into his pro day, scouts expressed a great deal of concern over his inability to string together consistent positive performances. Those who attended came away extremely impressed with his raw physical abilities and footwork, feeling that with time and proper coaching, he could develop into a formidable NFL lineman. This pick may not pay immediate dividends, but it's a solid investment in the future of the offensive line.
DNA and abomination. This how it is when you in the matrix, dodging bullets, reaping what you're sowing, stacking up the footage, living on the go and sleeping in the villa, sipping from a Grammy, walking in the building, diamond in the ceiling, marble on the floors, beaches out the window, peeking out the window, baby in the pool, Godfather goes, only Lord knows I've been going hammer, dodging.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Daughters rock wearing sandals, yoga on a Monday, stretching to November, watching all the snakes, curving all the fakes, phone never own, I don't conversate, I don't compromise, I just penetrate, money, these are the breaks, these are the times, level number 9, look up in the sky, tennis on the way, sinners on the way, I got winners on the way, you ain't without a on your belt, you ain't without a ticket on your plate, you ain't sick enough to pull it on yourself, you ain't rich enough to hit the ladder skate, tell me when destruction gonna be my fate, gonna be.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Let it rotate. Money, DNA.
I go out for my squad and I put that on. Squad. All I got is my word and my word is my bond. Squad. Yeah, they gonna look at you different when you moving forward.
Adam, what can you tell us about the Giants' newest player?
With this pick, we see a tremendous physical talent that fell out of favor with many teams based on reports that he struggled memorizing his playbook. These struggles were cited as contributing to several key mistakes in late-season losses. A 3.7 grade point average student studying humanities, the explanation for his lack of football knowledge was puzzling to many of the scouts and GMs I spoke to. Other sources have told me that if the reports of his playbook struggles are indeed true, it may be more of a reflection of his previous coaching staff than his mental work ethic. They feel that making the jump to the NFL provides a clean learning slate for him. I expect his new coaching staff to bring him along slowly, and because of that, I wouldn't expect to see him getting any immediate on-field action until he demonstrates a mastery of the playbook.
Gonna look at you different when you moving forward. Show this, but just stick to the code. You get yours, I get mine. I've been reflecting on how we got this far, even when the pressure's on, finessing strong. Plus I got my team around me heavy, ain't no extra bros. You can keep them, just set these on delusional. Who gon' be there for you if you lose it all? Question that, who gon' have your mama back, Think about it, it's so much more than life, take advantage.
Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who's got more to say about the Browns' latest pick.
It's unfortunate to see a player recovering from an injury only to have it happen again, especially in an exhibition game. It was one of the rare times I've seen a brutal injury at the annual All-Star game between future NFL players. He took a hit that tore his ACL a second time in less than a year. That kind of injury history might scare away most teams, but it didn't scare away this team from drafting him. I've been told by his agent he's still recovering from the surgery, but he should be ready to play for training camp.
Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spray, make it rain just to let you know I've
you know. Tell her hater get up out my face. Yeah, I've been ballin' since like yesterday. Yeah, all this money all up in the way.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
All this money in the way. You know that I'm walking with the bang. Yeah, water, diamond on my ring. You know that I'm rockin', feel the blood. You know that, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a straight, make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a straight, make it rain just to let you know. Yeah, you cannot see me, the windows is tinted. Yeah, driving around in that Bentley. Ay, you driving around in that Bentley. Ay, but your shit, it just be rented. Yeah, but that is none of my business. Ay, money won't stop me, go straight to the top. Believe it or not, you like getting the same. Yeah, she know I'm a rock star.
Now that the Broncos have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter for more.
A tremendous physical talent, his draft stock plummeted after a well-documented battle with costly drops during a series of meaningful games this season. Sources have told me that when he's actually catching the ball, he's one of the most formidable wideouts in this year's draft. But he has to stop looking upfield in hopes of making big plays before catching the ball. Draft experts feel he has tremendous upside, helping GMs to overlook any issues he may have securing the football. Whether or not he can cut down on the drops and become the superstar wide receiver that this team believes he can be should be one of the more interesting storylines coming out of this year's draft.
The Seahawks are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock.
Could be dangerous. Everybody circling as vultures, negative, nepotist. Everybody waiting for the fall of man. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run. I was born for this. Whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip. Word upon your lip. Rather that you rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
I wanna be invisible. Looking at my years like I'm martyrdom. Everybody needs to be a part of them. Never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run. I was born for this.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip. Word upon your lip. Rather that you rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes.
The Bears are now on the clock.
I do what it takes, but critical, egotistical. Don't wanna be the parenthetical, hypothetical. Working onto something that I'm proud of. Out of the box, an epoxy to the world and the vision we've lost. I'm an apostrophe. I'm just a symbol to remind you that there's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Half deceased, and when I am deceased, at least I go down to the grave and die happily. Leave the body of my soul to be a part of me.
takes.
No Harvard, but I was a scholar. Hard knocks, and I learned to be smarter. Don't prefer to be bothered. You get if I order. That's word to my father. I will for my mother. Deal with my brothers. Keep it real. Don't talk with no. Plus I duck undercover. Gotta stay on this mission. Got a vision that's endless. They told me don't be a menace. They gon' serve me a sentence. But now I'm up in the illest that did it. Get the cream look. Drop it in it. Give about opinions. I'm just minding my business. If I'm grinding, I'm shining. Don't got time for the gimmicks. I'm it. Squad. 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 I'm it. Squad.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
I'm it. I'm it. Okay, now we back to square one. It's hard to square up. Everybody got it.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Mama cries, dead sons, Lord please bless them. Back to the party, I'm just pouring my. Don't get face step before, so I live it up. When a come, better get them up. That's a floss track, better get them up.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
I'll let you finish, y'all. Block of diamonds, I can promise I'm being honest. This being modest. I am your highness, I am the finest. You rappers, plus you a liar. Don't idolize and I don't admire. Been doing me for like ever. I'm a better me.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
We surfing, baby, new age. That's a certain, baby. Let's take a ride. Put your for the ones that die. It's lost tonight. Just you and I get lost tonight. Didn't lose your mind. I'm it.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
I'm it. I'm it. I'm it. I'm it.
Yeah. Starts with a feeling, and you ride it like a wave. Crash it so the sparks can come together. Don't need a reason why the universe was made. It goes on and on and on and on forever. And it's a long flight on this battle star where we fight for love no matter where we are.
The Packers are now on the clock.
And it makes me feel like a golden way. You got me like ooh. You got me like you got me like and ooh. With all the things you do, yeah, anything and everything a man can feel. Well, honey, I feel it with you. Baby, you're flashing, and I'm blinded by your light. I love the way you Jupiter is rising. You got me reacting
inside of me.
The Patriots are now on the clock.
You got me like, ooh, yeah, yeah. You got me like, you got me like,
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Picture me putting my city all over the map. There wasn't believers, I had to get even and mad. We coming up, pulling up, jumping all over your grass. So tell them I got a new girl. Tell them that I'm the bank and I want all my 50s in cash. I'm tired of living check to check. I need 20 models. This is smiling in my grave, fresh to death. I've been Wu-Tang with a spectre deck. Getting, yeah, I got that. I gotta just get off my chest. I cannot miss it. Got last on my list and you next. Take it how you want it. I ain't famous like I want it, but I think I might just skirt off. Blow the speakers and turn up. Pop up. Go to church with my shirt off. Tell the Lord that I'm here now. I've been waiting for so long. I've been patient for so long. Breaking rules like there's no laws, and I did it for a long time. If you don't like me, take a ticket. There's a long line. Nice to meet me. I think the pleasure's all mine. They've been clocking me so long, I think they lost time. Ooh, you lost. What you mean? Woo! What you mean? Woo! And now I'm just a so what you mean? Woo! Hold up, whoa, what you mean? Woo! Hold up now. Don't know what you think, compare me to. Adrenaline popping, the blood will be leaking and running. Yeah. I do what I do.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Tell all of my I got a new girl.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
I'm tired of living on the edge.
Adam, what can you tell us about the Raiders' newest player?
Typically, when a player has a bad day at the combine, he uses his pro day to redeem himself. Unfortunately for this running back, all he was able to do was confirm what he did back at Indy. He's not the fastest, and he's definitely not the strongest, but what hurt his stock the most was his inability to show improvement between the combine and his pro day. His success in college might be the only reason he went this high. Let's see if he can carry that success over to the NFL.
If I ain't in your top 10, go for bridge. My black boys like boys that knock off your lid. I thought y'all gon' pop off, so hop off my... Ooh. What you mean? Woo! I said, what you mean? Woo! Listen, I don't trust her. So, no, I said, what you mean? Whoa. I said, what you mean? Woo!
You thought it was finished, you thought it was over. You thought it retired, you thought it was fishing with Kobe. I'm still as ill as considered as one of the coldest. Still a put a partner rapper here like Moses. I'm throwback like a molar roller. I'm cooler than a cup of yogurt. Black flag boy, truck soldier. I'm cool with laws and Ayatollahs. Rap god, Cyclops and Ogre. I'm King Kong, ain't nobody told you. You think road still. And Bobby Brown about to go get. Paul McCartney, I'm rich. I'm Muhammad Ali, I talk. I'm James Brown, about to tell.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
Some baddest bag gon' get it. What you mean?
The Titans are now on the clock.
Yeah, pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame, rhyme. Crime. It's a shame they let us jump out of Bentleys with dirty vans. Hit the stage for 15 minutes, get 30 bands. Swiss bank counting clean money with dirty hands. With some hood that's ready to with the. Since I came in, it made my name a name brand. French. Paris clubbing like a caveman. We threw up the pyramids, now they say we Illuminati. I'm a tsunami, what the is a little yachty. No blood diamonds, I rock gold like a king. Jury so cold, made them blow the nose off the Sphinx. You think I'ma be some type of role model? I go full throttle, desperado, that's the motto. Vic in Chicago is Hugh Hef at the grotto. Brazilian model, she mean mugging like Frida Kahlo. Drinking.
The Rams are now on the clock.
I'm the ticket, you just hit the lotto. Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame, rhyme. Young Vic, the diamonds, the finest. I shine like puff shine. Shines if I sign to the rock, cause I'm timeless. Top off the Mozzie, my behavior is mindless. On kids, we major, you mindless. Fresh out the cell to the booth. Drop the roof, I'm still in the hood. Tell.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Club, the judge, you rappers is false flagging, you a fashion. What's what you know about what's below? Why Barry leave your head ringing? Free Big Missa, I'm a star, chain swinging. This that music, you can blame Reagan. I'm ball mayin' without paying, y'all playing, we playing. My Himalayan, Gallardo, that's a sacrificial lamb. I'm seasoned cam, no matter, blam. Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The law, it's a shame, rhyme, crime.
Every other night I'm outside with the. You ain't got chips. The world, you got chips. You could the next man's girl. Sounds harsh, but they been ripped apart my world. The way Kiss told it should never be misquoted. The that you wave on the camera, we been toting. Selling love potion my whole rap career. So your streams and downloads could never match the kids. We could go foreign until it's boring. My sheep will keep jumping the fence until you.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
I'm more Wale for Lauren. Till the world is mine like Illmatic and Lauren. Written on the to a table full of fresh skin in the type of rappers we know got the right.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Down like I'm Nino.
Pulling up with the coupe. Oh my goodness. Must have done same with the roof. Oh my goodness. You sitting looking stupid on the stoop. Oh my goodness. I would take notes if I were you. Oh my goodness. This was designed with the stars, the square and the cross, so we know true north. Oh my goodness. Smiling with 50 carats in my jaw. Oh my goodness. The law, it's a shame, rhyme, crime.
Hey, ransom. Hey, ransom. Hey, ransom.
I'm a running man, sandals slipping off my feet on the sand, counting up the bills with my dominant hand. Yo, choose up. tear up the rim shot. I'm going global, coast to coast like my G.I. Joe present. I've yet to see a Cobra. So
The Giants are now on the clock.
some bombs never go off, some stars never blow up. I'm pitching in, never in the dugout. Reaching in my and I can't take a head count. Flashback, 03, things was looking run down. Now I set foot in the place, it's a luau. Killing like 10 counts, y'all know how we get down. House with the fence around, y'all know that we en route. Transition from the Impala to the Fisker.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Left the doors up, now the Lambo has pigtails. Since you getting comfy, I'ma let you sit there, I'ma let you stay there. When I shed a tear, they didn't have no care. So I'ma charge retail, I brought some cause you say you want sick. If you love sick, in the room you best.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
Stay, what the no tuck, Tway Lee Winter Magazine, double XL. Floss with your Gucci on, dipped in colors burst on the cars and the jewels. I'm a wanted man. Seats looking like they got a spray tan. When I was without, not a helping hand. I got some guys that throw it back and make me drop the cans. I told Ben Frank just to drop a pin. I could let my fit go to the highest bid. Yes, I might drop in. It all depends. Junior high, I was dreaming of a 10. I'm coming clean though. I mean, not a spec. My girl be serving looks. I can the chef, katana sword popping out my walking cane. I'm overseas, my Cali Bay like how was Spain. We getting to the money and you having issues. I bought a and it came with a wetsuit. The Buddha left me without breath. I really am a mess. I'm mooching off myself. She be hoping that I take a knee. Yes, I be open to that shrimp life. This is how we live. This is how we exist. Love the kicks and we love the hits. All in the house and I'm wrecking. If I sleep, I'm a wrecking. I'm in my own world. Throw the money up and make my own weather. Mommy playing tether on leather. Money talk, it's a lecture. 80 pointers dance on me, it's a lecture.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
Still unaffected. Chipper on my shoulder, I move undetected. She said, pop the question got deflected. Man, that made my boy, then my brethren. Let's cut to the chase. It's only on the house when we in the place.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
Some flames, stirring up the cup with my wrist souffle. Shaka Zulu chains with my name engraved. I told you on swing, don't say my name in vain. We bring it to your door like you rang, spending all the money, then we watch it boomerang. With the Fendi belt, angry face like put some gold on my fingers, neck, and shoestrings. Long time no see, that's what they say when they see me, man. I've been going crazy just to stay sane. Hey, your girl went missing, who's to blame? Young whippersnapper with the range. Pause, then I went to range. Call that hot.
The Texans are now on the clock.
Long week, but a great day. So it got me.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
And on me, you should get a raise. On me, yeah, you can hate.
The Jets are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock.
You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy dare try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Kick up to you. Them boy dare try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? When I come round there like a bad boy, do it. Want all the talking, go on and do it. Running through the party, bottle of rolls on my ear saying storms, don't do it. Double on my shoulder, I don't lack. Getting with the business, I don't scrap. Even when
the Buccaneers are now on the clock.
There's no car and no match. What you talk about? Clown, stand down. Never had a thing, never had a pound. You were never bad then, you ain't bad now. Never had them, then look back down. Wait, I saw bare kicks, saw bare clothes. Said not that, I can't wear those. I don't like them, they're not my thing. They went silent, they're all weirdos. Like yeah, storms don't clear. Never ride a Tom Ford or a Montclair. Man, them a calm, but you see my don there. Tell them don't do it, don't dare. Don't care who you know from my block. You're not Al Capone. They can take my car and my creps. I'll still do the road in my socks. Like who's gonna stop me? You, him, little man. I got blue slims. Don't be an idiot. Move smart. I've been killing it. New king. You ain't ready for my new stuff. You're a boy by yourself. Go and group up. And when Crep went states for the BTs, I was covering Crep like a boot cut. If mad, it's a family thing. Straight family thing. Dumb man, I broke no salary thing. Had a young thing called Amy telling me to come round hers on a Valerie thing. Hashtag Murky Academy thing. You were like art and the gallery thing. Dumb boy there wanna chat about bars, wanna chat about. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to suck the truth. How dare you to suck the truth? Look, I'm too hot. I got money in my shoebox.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Sold out like the brother from the Boondocks. Beat Swan in my boombox. Still meat from the stew pot. Man, I'm go sick on my tune drops. Little man, that's a hooplo, not a hoopla. What? Pronounce it right. I got magic, I'm down to die for this. I don't care, bro, I'm down. Man stressed, so I'm bound to lie my slips. Wait, I'm bound to ride for flips. Real G's gonna ride around to this. Man, I got no time to write at this. I never left my 9 to 5 for this waste man thing. I don't care what rave man's in. I came here to relax, but if it gets mad, make a young boy take man's things. Try to tell me I'm way too big to rebel. Nah, man, you're never too big to rebel. I was in the O2 singing my lungs out rude, but you're never too big for Adele. Leave my yard, blow a kiss to my girl. Salute to my sister as well. Gotta keep trophies down at my mum's bit. Man, I'm getting way too big for my shelf. Man, I see bare MCs on the sideline, but I still got a couple bangs in the pipeline. Man, I got grown men at me.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Timeline, you're getting way too old for this. Should've looked after your kids. Get out the booth, go home to your